Hi, and welcome to the Office Providers Talking Office Space and Flexible Workspace podcast. Today's episode is an overview of the central London district of Mayfair. We hope you enjoy it, and as ever, most importantly, we hope that it's useful. So, choosing office space to rent in Mayfair. This overview discusses Mayfair as a district and the office space options within it. For further information regarding Mayfair office space, please check out the link, which will be in the notes of this podcast, where you will find information on serviced office space, managed offices, co-working spaces, and private member business clubs in Mayfair. You'll also find details of how to arrange viewings, and so on. So, Mayfair is one of the most exclusive real estate districts in the world. It is an area of central London sat in between Hyde Park and Oxford Street, and is also bordered by Piccadilly and Regent Street. It is located in the West End of London and has the postcode districts of W1J, W1K, and W1S. It is a 300-acre district with a 300-year history. It actually dates back a little bit further to 1686 as the location of the annual Mayfair, which was around that time, and is the home to internationally renowned institutions, first-class hotels, Michelin-starred restaurants, luxury boutiques, and international embassies. It is also home to some of the most expensive real estate in London and, in fact, the world. So, why is real estate in Mayfair so expensive? Well, Mayfair is one of the top 3 most expensive real estate locations in the world and often takes the top spot. In 2019, the UK's record for the highest rent was broken when hedge fund Steadview agreed to pay £250 per square foot for its London headquarters. London headquarter offices at 30 Berkeley Square. The previous highest UK office rent record was in the neighbouring prime West End district of St James's, where fashion investment tycoon Lawrence Stroll paid £190 per square foot in 2017. Stroll is famous in the fashion world for bringing Pierre Cardin fashion wear and Ralph Lauren clothing to Canada, incidentally, and is also the father of Formula One racing driver Lance Stroll. I digress. The capital values of non-commercial properties in Mayfair average £2,000 per square foot, with some super prime new properties exchanging actually for well in excess of that. So why is it so expensive? There's a large number of Grade 2 listed properties in Mayfair, both residential and commercial. There are many modern premium office spaces that are within these Grade 2 listed properties that retain original period facades and other features. But this isn't unique for central London, and certainly not for the West End. So what else? There are also several Grade 1 listed town garden squares, which are certainly very pleasant features of a district. However, again, there are other districts in central London that also have garden squares. Is this expensive because of its central location? Maybe, but other locations such as Soho, Marylebone, and Covent Garden, and so on, are just as central, and some maybe more so. Yet are considerably cheaper than Mayfair. Is it because of its proximity to green space, such as Hyde Park and Green Park? Maybe, but many other parts of central London have green spaces too. It is the home to Bond Street, home of designer boutiques and high-end luxury goods. It is also the home of ornate Victorian shopping arcades, such as the Burlington Arcade, and also some historical five-star institutions, such as the Ritz, Claridge's, and the Connaught, which in turn would go hand in hand with first-class restaurants and private clubs, of which there are several. So there is an ecosystem of luxury institutions there. It is close to both Buckingham Palace and St James's Palace, but neighbouring St James's is closer to both of those. Mayfair has a history dating back to the 1700s as being home of several members of the aristocracy and members of the upper classes. It has been home to dukes and duchesses, earls, viscounts, and so forth. Indeed, Queen Elizabeth II, the UK's current reigning monarch, was born in Mayfair, on Bruton Street, to be precise, back in 1926. It also features in many pieces of literature, from Jane Austen's pieces to Oscar Wilde's to P.G. Wodehouse's, the creator of Jeeves and Wooster. It would appear, therefore, that the unique combination of all of the above factors, plus others that haven't been mentioned, are the reason that Mayfair remains the most expensive real estate district in central London and indeed the rest of the world on many years. So what occupiers are there in Mayfair? Mayfair is renowned for its internationally acclaimed hotels, such as the previously mentioned Claridge's and the Ritz, its Michelin-starred restaurants, of which there are many, its boutique designer stores, the elegant Victorian shopping arcades, and private members clubs such as Annabelle's, The Conduit, Morton's, and Harry's Bar. There is quite a mix of office space occupiers in Mayfair also. Publishing house Vogue has its headquarter offices in Mayfair. There are also many hedge funds, particularly boutique funds, based here. Excuse me. There are international and luxury real estate advisory firms based in the district, and also private banks and wealth management companies. There is actually quite a variety of office occupiers in the area, and the diversity has increased with the introduction of flexible workspace options in the district. Excuse me. Quick sip of coffee. So, what sort of office space options are there in Mayfair? Leased office space in Mayfair is the same as any other UK location, in the sense that the tenant signs, in most cases, a full repairing and insuring, or FRI, lease, and then is responsible for the maintenance, repairing, and insuring of the office space that they occupy, which is also known as the tenant's demise. They are also responsible for contributing towards the servicing of the common areas of the property, and so pay a service charge. The service charge covers items such as maintenance, cleaning, furnishing of the common areas, utility costs of the common areas, security, sinking funds for large repairs such as the roof, lift maintenance, and so on. The service charge is priced on a square footage basis and is therefore related to the size of the tenant's demise. A leased office space tenant will be responsible for paying the business rates, which are similar to council taxes. When it comes to office space, the demise is referred to as the hereditament, and the rateable value of the hereditament is based on a multiplier known as the Uniform Business Rate Multiplier, and the value that the Valuation Office Agency, the VOA, has previously determined. The tenant will also be responsible for setting up and paying for all items within the demise, including the utility bills, cleaning, decorating, furnishings, broadband, and so forth. There are an increasing number of flexible workspace options available, including serviced offices in Mayfair, as well as managed office spaces, co-working space centres, and private member business clubs. These all provide their own individual offerings, but what they do have in common is the lack of onerous leasing. Onerous leases, as they are more often than not arranged via a simple license. Excuse me. They are easy to arrange and relatively easy to terminate too, which provides a great amount of flexibility and agility. This is useful if an occupier wishes to move into larger or smaller space within the same building, something that most office providers in Mayfair are happy to facilitate if they have the availability. Most flex space options in Mayfair are on all-inclusive rental bases. So the 1 monthly license fee that is paid covers the rent, service charge, and business rates, as well as other items, which varies from building to building. The fee also, in most cases, covers furnishings, utilities, decoration and maintenance, cleaning, secretarial services, and other items. Some flex space properties have extra inclusions, such as allowing signage to be placed on the directory and the reception area, and also provide complimentary refreshments and so on. Most include free local and national telephone calls and broadband, although this can vary from provider to provider. So, what are the office rental costs in Mayfair? For leased office space in Mayfair, the average cost of Mayfair office rent is £90 per square foot per annum. The typical business rate for Mayfair office space is £42 per square foot per annum, and the average service charge for office space in Mayfair is £9 per square foot per annum. For flex space options in Mayfair, the typical all-inclusive serviced office costs are £850 per desk per month. So, how would you go about finding and securing an office in Mayfair? What's the process? If you're opting to take leasehold office space in Mayfair, then we would always recommend instructing an RICS accredited office agent that has a proven track record within the Mayfair office space market. You can find such agents on the RICS website. In most cases, the fee for the agent will be 10% of the first year's rent. You will also need to instruct a solicitor to finalise the lease. If you're undecided between leasehold offices and the flexi space solution, then it's important to use a company that understands the two different products. For instance, it can be difficult to make a clear side-by-side comparison of flexible workspace and leasehold space pricing. One price is solely for the rent and is based on a square footage basis per annum, and the other is per desk per month. Shameless plug alert here. This is a service that we provide. We are transparent and simplify the process for our clients, and, for instance, explain that a desk space is the equivalent to approximately 75 square feet in most cases, and then we can help to break that down and make the comparisons from there. We look at the unique requirements of a company and help them to decide the best solution for them. We can come to understand your requirements, scan the market, produce a report, which is free in all situations. We can arrange viewings for you, and we can then provide negotiation support too. This is all a completely free service that we provide because we are funded by the providers of the office space, and we're also, excuse me, we're also an RICS regulated company too. So, is there anything to watch out for when signing for office space in Mayfair? So, as mentioned above, with leasehold office space, it is extremely important to instruct an office agent, and preferably one that's accredited or regulated by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. the RICS. An RICS accredited office agent is not always necessary. However, you will always need a solicitor stroke lawyer to run through and negotiate your lease terms on your behalf. Looking for any onerous clauses in the lease, the sublease, the head lease, depending on the situation with that particular property, and also to understand the proper procedures for serving notices, and a solicitor will explain your obligations under the lease terms and so on. So it is critical to employ a solicitor when signing for leasehold office space. Flexible workspace licenses are fairly simple, but do not provide the same tenant protection as a lease. For instance, an occupier will not be protected by Part 2 of the 1954 Landlord and Tenant Act. That being said, that is the payoff of being able to sign for a shorter term and have all-inclusive rents and so forth. It is still important to keep your eyes wide open when signing any contract, and to look to see if there are any exclusions, such as broadband or car parking costs, that you weren't expecting. Again, we can help with this. That was another shameless plug. So, on a more general basis, are there good amenities in Mayfair? So, Mayfair has almost every amenity and service imaginable, and if it's not in Mayfair itself, you'll find it very close by on Oxford Street, Regent Street, or elsewhere in the West End. You are very central with Mayfair, so you're not far from much that the capital can offer. You'll find art galleries, nightclubs, a wide variety of bars and pubs, restaurants, hotels, etc. In Mayfair, there are gyms, yoga studios such as Kinya Therapy Suites on South Molton Street, meditation centres such as the Emma Mills Meditation Centre on Bond Street. There are also creches and childcare facilities in Mayfair, such as Peekaboo on Dover Street and Tiny Hands on Maddox Street. There really is a wide variety. You've basically got a little town within central London there. What are the transport links like in Mayfair? So there aren't any underground tube stations within Mayfair itself, per se, but the stations of Green Park, which is served by Jubilee, Piccadilly and Victoria lines, Bond Street, which is served by Central and Jubilee lines, and Hyde Park Corner, which is served by the Piccadilly line, are just on the border of Mayfair, and are easily accessible from all locations within Mayfair. There's several bus routes that actually run through Mayfair, and also very, very close by. So there are 3 Transport for London (TfL) cycle docking stations in Mayfair. There's one on Bruton Street, Curzon Street, and Farm Street. From these, you can hire a bike 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. There are also quite a few car hire companies, and there are various car parks, including an NCP on Adams Row and a Just Park on Old Burlington Street. So it's easy to recruit new staff in Mayfair. So if you're relocating to Mayfair, that could be a consideration, or just opening a brand new office, in fact. So, well, it shouldn't take too much to convince your existing team to relocate to Mayfair or to recruit new staff to come and work at your office in Mayfair. It is, after all, one of the most exclusive districts in central London and arguably the world. So there is the panache of the area that is a real draw. It is also very well connected, as just mentioned, with easy access to transport links. Yeah, its prestigious reputation is not a well-kept secret either, due to its status as the most expensive property square on the London edition of Monopoly. In terms of actually recruiting staff in Mayfair, there are several recruitment agencies that are based close to Mayfair, and these operate in various sectors. They're either niche recruitment agents or quite general. Some examples include Blue Fire Consulting on Berkeley Square, PIP Recruitment on Grosvenor Square, and RMS Recruitment on Maddox Street, as well as many others. Those are just a few examples. So what sort of business support is there if you're looking to open an office in Mayfair? Well, London and the City of Westminster provide various levels of business support through grants, networking events, online information, such as guides and various other resources. There's grants out there that will match the investment that your company makes in digital marketing, for instance, and various other areas. So there's a lot out there. Your first port of call could be the City of Westminster website, which is westminster.gov.uk. That will also link to the wider London council websites. We have also produced a guide to opening an office in Mayfair with useful resources for any businesses looking to take workspace in the district, and that can be found on the link that is in the notes of this episode. So that is our overview of Mayfair, the office space available, how to go about searching for and securing an office for your business in the district. This is, of course, just an overview. Nothing replaces a conversation with an office-based broker to allow them to understand your specific requirements. But that being said, we do hope this has been of some use at least. If you'd like to discuss locating your office in Mayfair or would like any further information on how we can assist in helping you find the best space for your business in Mayfair or any district in London, please just get in touch. So thank you for listening, and until next time, goodbye.